Ooh. Hello. I'm just gonna shuffle out. Ooh. Hi, don't mind me. I didn't realize how oily I had gotten. How are you? How's this full moon doing, y'all? I feel that after this, I think I'm gonna have to have an early night. Pack it in. It's been a long day. If you didn't know what this was, it's for the pick a picture. I just realized that I'm gonna have to show y'all the pictures, but I have an idea. I have an idea. Okay. Everybody tell me how your day was. It's 9:02. I'll probably get started in a minute, but tell me how your day was. Today was the full moon. It was actually this morning in Aries. No. Nothing to say. So these. I'm just shuffling up before we get into prayer. And then we'll be starting with the first picture, which is right there. The spaceships. Okay, let's get it started. Spirit guides, ancestors, angels, and the divine, thank you so much for waking us all up this morning. I'm here to do a collective reading for the full moon in Aries, which was today, October 1st. I ask that we create a very safe space for all messages that need to come out, that we are directing everyone in the collective to their highest good, and that anyone who needs a message receives a message this evening. Thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you. Okay. We're starting with number 1, picture 1. It was, of course, when I pick it up, this one. For everyone who chose her. Let's get into it. Figured someone was going to drop, as long as it wasn't the iPad. Okay, so just going to go ahead and pull one of each oracle card, and then ooh, wow. Can I get 3 cards, please, for pile number 1? Okay. So we have let's start with the oracles. For pile number 1, we have share your voice. Share your voice. It says come out of the cave, persecution expression. So when I'm thinking of share your voice and the energy that it brings, we're absolutely talking about people being more vocal about their needs. I said on my Twitter that I feel as though this Aries full moon is really asking us to be more authentic, to be a little bit more selfish, because, you know, that's kind of what the archetype of Aries is, to be a little selfish. And that's not a bad thing. I think that, you know, this is a time for us to be a lot more expressive, and especially the share your voice coming out. There's things that need to be said, and perhaps things that need to be done. The other card that we got from the energy oracle deck was the first chakra archangel Michael. Can't speak today, but where we're talking about security. Hi, tell me how your day's going. But talking about security, talking about what it means for you to feel safe in your own shoes, in your space, and figuring out what you're rooted in. Honestly, we're doing pile number 1 or picture number 1, but I think that this is about feeling secure enough, feeling rooted enough that anything that comes out of your mouth, anything that you have to communicate, comes out, right? Because we have share your voice and then the first chakra, root chakra. Now, getting into the cards for you all, we have the Tower card in reverse. We have the Emperor card. Sorry, my mom is yelling right now. We have the Emperor card, and then we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So Tower card actually came out horizontally. And to me, when I'm looking at this Tower card, I think that this is one of those areas of transition, especially with, you know, as we bring in the full moon and then go along with its transit, we are releasing all the way up until the full moon, and then setting intention, or I did that backwards. You know, we are building until we reach the full moon, and then one second. I'm back. Okay. So where was I? Hold on. I was talking about how the Tower came out horizontally and how I felt like it was the transition. So, you know, building up to the full moon, we are setting intentions for what we're manifesting. And then after the full moon, we are setting intention for what we are releasing. And so with this Tower card coming out horizontally. I think that in this transition, you may have been dealing with something that was chaotic where, shout out to you. Shout out, you said tower. I feel it. Thank you. But we are talking about, something that's a little bit chaotic, something that, we were forced to release, not because of our own accord, but because spirit came in and determined that this is no longer in your highest good, or that it was not built on steady foundation, therefore it was going to fall anyway, was going to fall apart anyway. And I think that in this transit, whether it was the Virgo new moon that passed, or this Aries full moon, you may have been releasing your attachment to something, because it almost came out as if it wanted to come in reverse, where you are kind of hesitant, or trying to avoid the tower moment, trying to avoid something crumbling. You're trying to keep it together. And I think that in this transit, you've definitely started to just let it go. And you're letting it go because I feel like with this Emperor card, you're finally getting to the place where you feel as though you are in control. Even if this is falling apart, even if things are falling apart, you are still in control. And I think especially the Emperor is Aries energy too, but I think in this full moon, you're feeling a little bit more comfortable calling the shots, speaking up for yourself. And again, feeling comfortable. We're bringing it back to that root chakra. The last card you guys got was the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. You may feel as though there's a cloud following you around, but that's not the case. I also think that with this full moon, you may be experiencing things that are not necessarily positive. But I think that it bring you to a certain place, or make you recognize that you are stuck in a cycle that you don't need to be in, right? What was the bottom of the deck? Oh, the World card in reverse. And the Hermit underneath that. Okay, you may be moving into, of course, like a new cycle, but this is like a book. You were writing the last chapter, tying up loose ends, but we're moving into, this sequel, or the next era in your life. But I think that if you're not experiencing like negative things happening, or you're feeling as though negative things are happening, you may just be getting stuck in a cycle, and you may have been getting tripped up because of the things that you didn't want to fall away. But now that you are understanding that you can't control anything but yourself and your reactions, I think that this full moon in Aries is definitely going to be bringing you a lot more peace, and also just allowing you to move into this new chapter with a little bit more ease. Let me pull you guys an affirmation for the first pile, these spaceships. Whew. Okay. Bottom of the deck is I'm a masterpiece. Just be sure to know that you are unique, and everything that you bring to the table is, perfect as it is. You were created as you were. But the card that you guys got was I live a balanced life. Everything in life requires balance, including what we categorize as work or play. By establishing equilibrium of all aspects in your life, you create a continuous flow of energy. Have the confidence that you can do it all while doing it well. So, and I think of balance a lot when I think of my root chakra, because in my opinion, the root chakra is what grounds us all. And it's like, how can you grow? How can you expand? How can you be flexible if you do not know where you're rooted? How do you know what your balance is if you do not know what security feels like, right? So make sure that you're speaking up for yourself, or picture one people. Make sure that you are taking the time to ground and to maintain your balance, especially as this transit and this month goes on. This is a very powerful month. We have 2 moons, one's in Taurus, I believe on the 31st, but I can't be sure. And yeah, you just don't want to dismiss your balance keeping routines and regimens. So moving on to picture number 2. Ooh, the spaceship and the planets and all of those good things. Let's see what pops up for you guys. The world in reverse from the energy oracle card. We just had the the world in reverse in the tarot deck. So interesting. Cards came out of the Work Your Light oracle. So we have Get Grounded and Leap. And let's see what this tarot is hitting on for picture number 2, people. Queen of Wands in reverse. Ace of Pinnacles in reverse. Woo. Okay. Queen of reverse, 6 of Swords, 3 of Wands. Okay. Let's start with the Oracle cards. Again, we are on, this is the one you picked. Let's get into it. So, Oracle cards with the price of light, not the price of, the Work Your Light Oracle card, we have Get Grounded. I just said in the last pictures reading, maintain your balance, make sure that you are grounded, especially with this powerful month. We have a lot of transits going on. Mars is in retrograde, Saturn just went direct. What are you doing to maintain your balance, your equilibrium on the inside? There's a lot going on in the world, and then there's a lot going on with the energy. And so it's like, are you taking care of yourself? Are you making sure that you're setting intentions for your week or your day? Are you meditating? We have Leap. You go first. The universe will catch you. If you have ideas or you're plotting on doing something new, but you're a little bit scared, take the risk. You have to have faith that the divine is there to catch you, or that if the next step that you are about there will be footing. Have faith that they are doing the work behind the scenes, as long as you do the work on the main stage. So the energy oracle card that we have is the World in reverse, and it's quite literally the same as the tarot world card, where we're talking about new beginnings, new eras, bringing in new things. But if you are hesitant, if you are, again, that hesitant, the leap to take the risk, if you are hesitant, it's so much harder for this to come in with grace. Because, and I feel as though, well, okay, there's 2 options. Sometimes the divine is like, well, it's time for you to get into this new cycle, or this new, this new place in your life anyway. And so I'm going to push you, and you resisting or being hesitant to make it uncomfortable. Sometimes they send us back to the drawing board and maybe have us redo a cycle. Either way, it's time to be a little bit more open-minded to the idea of a new space in your life. Or not even open-minded, not even excited. What word am I looking for? Just put the doubts and fears aside and have faith that this is where you are meant to be. There we are. So getting into the tarot, we have the Queen of Wands. Yes, be hopeful. Shout out to the 19. He be on it. And I'm a Virgo moon, so I hate when I can't get the right word. I will go through like 5 different words if I allow myself, and that's why I had to move on. Okay, we have the Queen of Wands in again, knowing intuitively what you are passionate about brings you light, but then hesitating to actually bring it in or encourage people to, see your vision. And I think that even still, this is another instance of where not being grounded and not being rooted in yourself can get in the way of you pursuing where you would like to be. It is so hard to take risk if you do not know what you're rooted in and you can't figure out, what's securing you. Get grounded. And I think that really what's necessary is for you to have a routine set in place so that you are resetting or clearing your energy. Um, Coming back to this Queen of Wands, though, I think that there's also a risk that you may be trying to do too much at one time and overwhelming yourself or overwhelming those around you, thinking that it has to happen my way. And spirit will humble you, okay? They will be like, is it your way or is it the way that it's supposed to unfold? Um, be cautious in letting your ambitions block you from different opportunities with this Ace of Wands. The I'm wondering if they're going to be, I feel like they may be changing your plans a little bit with this full moon. If not, if not the full moon changing plans, then it's going to be redirecting your energy. Because we have the Three of Wands, we're talking about expansion. Talking about expansion, but then there's also the warning not to let your ambitions and your drive for bigger things to get in the way of one, your bag. But I think when we're talking about Pinnacles, we're also talking about your security, your balance. Are you grounded? Are you so busy go, 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 go on your rise and grind shit that you avoid, taking care of yourself, spiritual level, a physical level, making sure that you are replenished, making sure that you are grounded before you run out of energy or drain yourself, facing burnout. And I find it so interesting that the literally 5 cards came out for you guys. The Three of Wands, the card about expansion, is in the middle. And it's underneath the card that says leap. So again, if you're plotting, take the risk. Just be mindful to stay grounded and keep your ambitions in check. I mean, you can never dream too much, but you can also overwhelm yourself trying to do so much in a day or in a certain period of time. Believe that, and we are in a full moon where we're starting to set intention about what we are releasing. I believe that with these new thoughts of expansion, you may be asked to let go of past habits, past ideas that are limiting people. We have the Six of Swords, to regretfully move to smoother waters. It's time for a change to be made. And I think the reason that it's going to be made is because we have the Queen of Pentacles. And the Queen of Pentacles to me is talking about, that fear of burnout as well, where the Queen of Pentacles is very much about her bag. But she understands, and I say she just because of the way that the deck is depicted, but this is literally energy. So this is the energy of pouring into your work, but also knowing that your work is only valuable because of you. And therefore, you also give just as much attention to yourself to ensure that you are operating at the best of your ability. So if that is out of balance, here we go talking about balance again. You're not making time for yourself. How can you put your best efforts in to what you're trying to do, which is expand? So it may be time for you to let go of the idea that you always have to be working, always have to be productive. Rest is just as important. It can be, finding new ways to do your work that are more efficient. Queen of Pentacles is also earth energies, where I think about they're so effective. They're really worried about the results, not necessarily the journey. So they're looking for the most efficient and effective way to do anything, right? Yeah. So a lot of talk of expansion for my picture number 2 people, but be sure that your desire to expand does not become overwhelming to you, and to ensure that you are taking care of self, right? So let me pull you guys an affirmation. I love and honor myself. Bottom of the deck, we have I practice forgiveness. So if there's someone that needs to be forgiven, or if you need to do some self-forgiveness, please be mindful of that and how powerful it can be. I know that Melanated Mama just released a lesson. I'm not sure what exactly it was, but I remember her thread about forgiveness that was extremely powerful. I will try to go back and retweet it on my page and share, because it was a message. And forgiveness is so powerful and so important in our lives and our evolution, growing, all of it. So ponder on forgiveness. Maybe have a meditation on that. Again, you're supposed to be getting grounded. But your affirmation is I love and honor myself. The same compassion and appreciation you give others is equally, if not more, important to show yourself. Words of affirmation, accepting mistakes and following your intuition are just some of the ways you can express and magnify self love. This is definitely a time we're coming back. I literally said, I feel like this full moon is asking us to be selfish. And a lot of the messages that are coming out are about taking care of self. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you sticking up for yourself? Are you being authentic and, honoring the truest version? All of these things are coming up. So let's move on. I think the moon was next. I think number 3 had the most people who picked their, see if I can, yeah, who picked this one. I definitely picked it. Purple is one of my favorite colors. I was a little biased, but I also picked all of these pictures, so of course I'm biased. Wow. And my deck was upside down. I was just about to let's get serious. I was just doing quick shuffles, but pile number 3, it's giving awakenings with this. So let's see what else pops out. The Work Your Light Oracle card that came out was Answer the Call. The Energy Oracle card that came out was Door to Personal Healing and Happiness in Reverse. Let's just go for the full moon for picture number 3. Ooh. Two major arcana. We're on number 3. Okay. I guess just saying number 3 really broke out. Bottom of the deck is Ace of Swords in reverse. The reassessing of an idea, or the release of an idea, almost as if you've changed your mind or you are rethinking how you thought about things before, right? So, like I said with the Oracle cards, we had Answer the Call. It says, what is your soul calling you to do? So I said that this reminds me of awakenings, because I feel like one of the many awakenings that we can all go through is just simply recognizing what we are rooted in, recognizing what we are called to do. So figuring out your soul mission, figuring out what you came on earth to, give to the people or work with. I think that there are things that you've been doing since you were old, perhaps things that you were, always predisposed to do, that perhaps you walked away from depending on schooling, societal pressures, family upbringing. It gets clouded, that connection to the things that you were already drawn to. What this is asking for is for you to really ask yourself, what have I always been called to do? Were you the type to sing everywhere? Were you analyzing commercials? Maybe you need to be in like advertisement, communications, you know? It's about taking what you've experienced and what you are good at and accepting that so that you can answer the call, right? And then we have door to personal healing happiness in reverse. I've been terrible at showing you guys the cards, but when I look at the door to personal healing and happiness, we are talking about the idea that everything that you want and everything that's going to bring you joy is available to you, but it's up to you to walk, right? You can recognize all of the goodness that is waiting for you once you take a risk or, allow yourself to pursue things that make you happy instead of thinking about things that you should be doing. Because should is a word that, really comes from comparison and perhaps conformity. But when you do what actually makes you happy, when you are authentic to what actually brings you joy, that is when you find yourself at this opening, at this door. The thing is, it is still up to you to commit to that, right? So the door can be open and you could be staring through, seeing the rainbows, seeing the butterflies, seeing, the waterfall all the way in the back. But if you don't walk through the door to actually enjoy and, exist in that light, what can you expect, other than to watch other people pursue their happiness? And I think this is one of those moments of authenticity again, where we're talking about going after what you feel called to do instead of what others see you doing. You are the only person who's in control of this, right? And it's so funny that I say that the first card that's out is the Hierophant in reverse, understanding that your path does not look like everyone else's path, right? The things that you came here to do may not look like what your cousins do, what your siblings do, what your best friend did. This is about you and your life. And it's time for you to perhaps take a step away from the main path to figure out what your path looks like. I think that with that being said, this full moon in Aries is going to be calling for you to let go of things that aren't in alignment with who you are anymore, or aren't serving you, or simply cannot continue where you're going. Death. Death has honestly changed because one thing comes alive. You let one thing go, you're making space for something to come in. One relationship ends, again, one door closes, another one opens. You can say it in so many ways, but it's about change and also rebirth. So there may be a version of yourself from the past that did things a certain way because they thought they should do it. But now that you are in the place where you can do what you feel called to do and you feel comfortable walking through that door of healing and happiness and being comfortable knowing that, of course, it's going to be work to walk through that door and to walk that path, but knowing that you will be satisfied and content while you do it. But as you walk that path, understand that some things can't come with you. Some things will die. And that's not a bad thing. I think that this transit will also you recognize how strong you really are, right? Really strength card. And I also mentioned that this is still going to be work. It's not just that you're going to skip through the door, and skip through the fields, take a dip in the pond. This is the door to personal healing and happiness. You have to actively choose that make you happy. And I think that anyone can attest that healing is not linear, nor is it just like a check mark, like I'm done. No, it's work, but you're strong enough to do that work. The strength card to me is about unlimited growth and you being aware that there are things that may need to change for you to get to where you want to be, but knowing that you have the power to do it. So you do. And maybe sometimes you have a few flare ups, sometimes you might slip back, but that does not mean that you are not making progress. And I think that in this transit between letting go of things that, can't come with you and really recognizing the power that you have, the power that you have to mitigate whatever flaws that you see in the mirror and still be able to walk into a place where you can be happy and know that you deserve to be happy. You deserve to do your healing. And no one can take that away from you. Last card that came out for you all was Justice. Making better decisions in terms of you. Justice talks about fairness, right? And I think that, when we are all younger, when we're taught, it's like, okay, I have the candle. Susie wants the candle. Jaden, can you give Susie the candle? Because that's what fair. And then in our heads, we're like, okay, to be fair means that I have to share all of my things with someone else. When in actuality, fairness, we're talking about things being fair for the both of us, right? That it's a compromise for both you and I, but both you end up happy at the end. And I think that sometimes in our head, we're like, okay, I have to be fair. I have to be, compassionate. I have to be kind, even if it means sacrificing something for myself. And now it's time for you to look back at different places in your life where you were trying to be fair and maybe weren't fair enough to yourself, and learning from those things so that when they come up again, you can stand up for yourself. I see this sword and I think about communication and expression, standing up for yourself and setting boundaries, but also ensuring that everyone's needs are heard and catered to as much as any situation allows, of course. So, affirmations for picture number 3. Y'all can ask questions too. I mean, it's live. It's live. What do we say about expression and authenticity? Okay. Affirmation that came out. I say what I mean. Say what you mean and mean what you say. Be authentic in your communication to honor yourself and others. Make a habit of speaking your truth to free yourself of misunderstandings and miscommunications. Authenticity. Bottom of the deck, again, we have masterpiece. Everything about you has been carefully curated. As a masterpiece, you are a one-of-a-kind, original piece of art. This is my favorite line in this card, actually. You provide the blueprint for accepting your uniqueness and putting it on display for the world to see. You create the blueprint for how people are going to treat you, how they're going to perceive you. If you look and you express yourself in a way, it's, I'm here to be respected. I am beautiful. I deserve love and kindness, and I treat myself with that. You provide the blueprint for how other people are going to treat you. And when they don't, you will know that it's not how it's supposed to feel and to walk away, right? Okay. We're about to get into picture number 4, the astronaut. So I think this is actually my favorite picture. I loved all the pictures that I chose for this set, but my grandmother used to work at NASA, so seeing astronauts is always a moment. Flew. Boundaries from the Work Your Light Oracle. Ooh, and strategy from the Energy Oracle. Can everybody on this just hit the thumbs up? Or if you don't like me, you can hit the thumbs down, but it all adds to my engagement. Thank you. Again, this is for picture number 4, the astronaut. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Okay. Picture number 4. We're talking about boundaries. Where do you need to establish better boundaries in this full moon? What are some areas or relationships that you need to walk away from? Because sometimes that is setting a boundary, to say that I'm not getting what I need and here I am stating that. Or maybe it's having a relationship with someone and saying that things need to change so I can establish this. Where do you need to establish better boundaries? Ask yourself honestly, where do you feel drained? Where do you need more connectedness? This actually just reminded me that I have a boundaries reading that I never put on my site. If you'd like to book one, everything's 20% off. I'm about to shut down readings for the foreseeable future just to get some things in order. But it's besides the point. Let's get back to the full moon reading. For this full moon, it's time for you to release yourself from doing things you don't want to do, things that are draining you, things that, you know, are no longer your responsibility or are no longer aligned with your priorities, right? And with strategy coming out, it's about planning for what's coming next. For some reason, the Two of Pinnacles just popped into my head, where it's about time for you to start looking at your priorities and seeing what still needs to be at the top and what needs to be taken off the list completely. Are your goals still in alignment with you? Are your plans for your future still in alignment with who you are currently? Because you're dynamic, you're always changing, you are always, you know, reaching to higher places. So maybe one day something made you happy and the next you were like, you know what? It's not doing it for me anymore. But did you adjust your plan, your strategy to account for that? Because you could have a million of those moments where you're just like, can't do that anymore, not doing this anymore, right? You can do that so many times because you are constantly evolving, constantly changing. But have you taken the time to look at your plans and see if those changes have been affecting what you've been working towards? Are you ensuring that you are still looking in the right direction? All right, so we're getting into the actual tarot. The first card we had was the King of Cups. And it's funny that we talk about strategy and planning. When I look at the King of Cups, I do think about, you know, being logical, even if it is the King of Cups, where we're talking about emotional aspects of ourselves. Because the King of Cups is about recognizing that emotions are important and they do carry weight, but also, you know, recognizing whether or not they deserve to hold weight in your decision making. If you are in a mood, you should not decide to walk away from something, because moods are fleeting. And so you can acknowledge a feeling and say, well, I see that, I understand what this is trying to communicate to me, but what remains is I still have to make a decision that's going to be in my highest good, not only when I feel this way, but when I feel another. And this full moon in Aries may be putting you in positions where you may feel one way, but as a whole, you have to do something else. This could even have something to do, and especially because it's underneath the boundaries card right now, you know, those relationships that you have, you can love someone and you can want to show up for someone. But if you have things to attend to on your personal planning, you can't always step out of your comfort zone to help them, right? Despite if you love them, no matter if you love them and you want to do everything for them and you have that feeling, but you know that you have other things to do. And it's, to me, that is the breakdown of the King of Cups, to be emotionally intelligent enough to say, I do love you, but I need to set the boundary that I can't do this thing for you because I have to take care of my own matters. We also have the Four of Cups. And it's so funny because I feel as though this is really going to be a struggle for the picture for people in, you know, setting these boundaries in relationships, even in partnerships. Really, it's very much giving you, you've been so focused trying to maintain the emotional aspects of your life that you are missing things that are going to, make you happy by yourself. It's almost as if they're trying to give you something that's going to make you specifically happy, not the connections that you have already fostered or the things that you have already built. What are you trying to expand into? We have the Three of Wands. So picture four people. What have you been neglecting in the efforts to, step up for the people you care about? And is that really bringing you the emotional satisfaction that you want? That emotional fulfillment that you want? Or are there other things that need your attention? Other things that you want to attend to? Other things that you are planning for with this strategy card? And it's very much giving that you are looking for future plans, for expansion, for taking steps out of your comfort zone, and for many, birthing something new. Whether this is a creative birthing of, this is my idea, this is my venture, or perhaps, we may have a little pregnancy, but it's about taking the time to nurture whatever it is that you do want to grow. And like I said, that doesn't mean that you didn't have care for the people and the things that are asking for your attention, but it's time for you to set those boundaries and say, as much as I would love to, I have other things to do, other things to build. We had the Knight of Pinnacles lurking underneath the Empress. But how can you properly nurture and nourish something and, bring it into the material world if you are so busy pouring into others? So, oop. Bottom of the deck, we have my peace is protected. Do things that are going to maintain your peace. And when you set these boundaries, if people do not respect your boundaries, then honestly, they're not respecting you. And I'm not going to say a general statement that you just got to walk away from them. Some people don't know what to do with boundaries because they do not have them for themselves. But it's up to you to decide whether or not you are going to be patient or whether or not it's time for you to focus on the things that you need to do. The affirmation that came out for you is the universe is my biggest fan. The universe wants you to see that the universe wants to see you win and is supporting you every step of the way. The vibrations you emit will be reflected back. You must possess an inner knowing that the universe has your back and will support your wildest dreams. Right? So as you plan for the future, nourish whatever you are trying to build or birth into this world and look to expansion, know that you were supported throughout it all. And ensure that you are maintaining your peace by setting boundaries, by, setting boundaries with yourself. That's a thing too. So that you are, in a space where you are protected and happy and what is the word that I'm looking for? Fueled enough to get to where you're going. So this concludes the pick a picture. I keep trying to say pick a pile because of course. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Um, it's been great. I think that I will start doing this style more with the live readings. But I'm wrapping. It's been real. I just remembered that I didn't say my name. My name's Jaden. I run Ascendant Seals, and thank you for coming.